Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here. I'm a bit sore today because I overdid myself a little bit on my max effort bench press session yesterday, but I'm having to do that because I promised my subscribers that I would hit a 400 bench and a 600 raw deadlift this year before I jump into meets next year for you guys. And I was working off of a one board yesterday and I got upset when I missed a lift because I got 145 kilos for a double with a pause on the board and I went to 150 and it just stuck on the board. And so I ended up doing a lot more volume. I ended up doing a bunch of triples down with 130 off the board, and then decided because I haven't done any full range of motion benching for about 3 weeks and I wanted to try to PR next week on my flat bench, that I would do the NFL combine test for myself after doing 7 sets of heavy board presses. So I threw 100 kilos on, which for my American subscribers is 225, and I managed to crank out 18 reps, but it left me cramping all day yesterday in my pecs. I actually have DOMs today. But that's not really what I want to talk to you guys about today. I've got a couple different things to address, but hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. All right, first of all, I woke up this morning to a pleasant surprise. I got a shout out from Matt Ogus, and he said some really cool things about me and linked my channel, shouted me out. I wanted to thank you for that, Matt. And I am looking forward to meeting up with you and Chris Lovato here in a few months at the Body Power Expo. So I will see you guys there. Also, I got a message last night about Nick Wright. Let me put my glasses on so I can read this for you because there's some points I want to touch upon today. Not sure if this is a topic you want to address by video, but fellow YouTuber Nick Wright from Nick Wright Bodybuilding recently injured his lower back on deadlift. Would you mind commenting on either his situation or more generally on back injuries, safe lifting, or any other precautionary points? I only briefly know about the situation with Nick Wright's back. I don't really know what he did to cause it, but there's a few points I want to address upon overall lower back safety because I think the deadlift is one of the most amazing lifts for both power and hypertrophy, but it's a lift that you have to have a lot of respect for because it can hurt you. Now, interestingly enough, you don't see many back injuries with power lifters doing this movement. You generally see bicep tears as the most common. Usually you see gym rats and bodybuilders hurting their backs on it. And there's a few points I want to address there. One, as you guys know from other videos I've done, I am not a fan of high rep work or touch and go deadlifts. And it's partially for this reason. It's because when you start getting fatigued on the deadlift or when you're using touch and go, you tend to have form degradation. With that form degradation, you are putting yourself at risk for a lumbar injury. And so you need to really avoid those things. I prefer to treat a deadlift like a power movement all the time. And if you want to get similar movements for more volume or reps and just general metabolic work, I would rather people do something like a Romanian deadlift than a conventional deadlift. But that's just my take on the matter, and it's partially for safety reasons. Now, the other thing with that is that I think a lot of people don't always pay attention to their form on the deadlift. And I think if you're going to start deadlifting, it's very critical that you start videoing yourself from the side. Don't ever turn in the mirror and look because you'll hurt yourself turning. But you need to learn to video your setup. You need to make sure that your back is properly aligned, that you have a proper protective curve in your lower lumbar, that your shoulders are set, that you're pulling backwards instead of up. All the things that you need to do to keep that stress off your lower back. And the other thing is that once you start getting reasonably strong, I think it becomes very important that you add in accessory work for the deadlift. And this is something that most power lifters do, is that they put a lot of effort into training their core, both their abdominals and their spinal erectors, specifically to protect that area when they're deadlifting. A lot of people don't know this, but a strong core, strong abs, and doing a lot of heavy ab work will give you a degree of protection on deadlifts and squats for your lower back because of the way it stabilizes your core. And when I mean heavy, I'm talking less than 10 reps. Doing heavy weighted crunches or crunches on the lat pull down machine or even weighted planks. But you need to be working with relatively heavy weights so you can seriously strengthen your abs. The other thing that you should probably do once you start getting past about 400 pounds on the deadlift, I would like to see people put a lot more stress on movements to strengthen their lower back. A lot of good mornings. Good mornings are amazingly good for this if they're done correctly and safely. weighted hyperextensions, movements like that, or even cable pull-throughs if you don't have access to some of the other equipment that you might need. But those movements that strengthen your spinal erectors directly are going to help protect you when you're doing heavy deadlift, as long as your form is good and you don't have form breakdown. So those are the different things that I would personally focus on as far as just protecting your lower back on a deadlift. And I can't really speak to Nick Wright's personal situation because I only saw a Facebook update on it and I don't know the full details. But that's really all I have to say on all of that today, guys. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you next time.